ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं इन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजाः पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। Today's topic is wrong premise, wrong decision. Whenever we make a decision, the basis of some starting point, some premise that makes sense, and from that point, generally people say my decision was wrong, right? But foundationally, whether the premise was right, wrong, or right. And that's how one can make a decision. If they have the right premise, then the decision will be right. In the way it can state your problem. If one can state what they're trying to solve, the solution is that. The rest, in one sense, is what it is not so easy for ordinary beings, but Ravana, in the line, Lord Brahma
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
and his actors,
Your voice is splitting.
and he being the testimony Shrava from Vishnu came Ravana. So its scenes are fantastic. One, because the line where is born
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare
so you're
Krishna.
saying, yet when a person Mukha, that is turned away from not considering oneself or the emotional path, thinking of servant of the Lord, then regardless how much intelligence, how much of skill, line, whatever might be, then high operator will be wrong.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
And still he's stuck. The starts with the blind Dhritarashtra asking Sanjaya, Dhakshitre, Tre, Samaveta. That things seems really Kshetra. Kurukshetra, Samaveta, had a
Nityan Pran Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Are you able to hear us? Prabhu?
warrior went away. Mamakahas
Prabhu, looks like we are not audible to Prabhu.
were my past. Those were that this made already. Kimakuruvata. Some people say, what a silly question. You gather on a battlefield, you ask, what did they? Obviously, they got their kirtan or preaching work. They come. But the moment he says, Mama, from there on, everything else, he's working very vanquished his army. That blind, they call it. In this case, Ravana has given him some really good advice. Ravana missed all the ministers, including Vishnu. Now, one may think he's thinking, actually, he can't think well. He can't, because he comes by the passion, lust for the, he has actually become weak. Lust is a factor of sinful tendency. The sin tendency manifests as lust. Therefore, this is Maha very greatly full, because they commit really great sins. So after dismissing, time passed, Ravana.
Can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, well, I was on a roll. I guess you can hear me better now.
Do you want the wire?
No, we're good. Yes, Shamakund.
Yes, Prabhu, I can hear you now.
Okay. Oh, I was on a roll. Anyway, we'll continue from. So Ravana, after dismissing everyone, some time has passed, and chapter 11 begins with the condition of Ravana, as Valmiki tells us. So Babhuva, Ravana became Babhuva, Krisha. Krisha means tired, frustrated, weak. Raja, Krisha, Raja, Krisho, Raja, Maithili Kama Mohita. He became so emblazoned by the lust for Sita Devi that it made him weak. Asan Manas Suhrudan Papan Papan Eka Karmana. Papan Eka Karmana. Papena, because of his sin, that king became weak. And one may think, oh, is it the lust that is making a person weak? Yes, but there is another factor to it, which is the important piece there. He says, asan manascha, asammana, sammana, respect, asammana, disrespect of sauhrudan, of those who are dear to him. So when a person disrespects those who are giving good advice, then they become weak. And the weakness gives or opens the door for lust or the sinful tendency to arise. Actually, the sound vibration of the spiritual master, the sound vibration of scripture, the sadhus, is a way to ebb the urging or raging, lusty, sinful tendencies. Therefore, we say Shravanam is the most important way, that unless when there is Shravanam, there cannot be Kirtanam proper and Smaranam. Pravishta Karnarandhrena Swanam Bhava Sarurvam. When the holy name enters the whole of the ear and resides in the lotus of the heart, Dhunoti Shamalam, all of the dirt that is there just settles. Salilena Yata Sharat, just like when rain falls during autumn season, for us it is fall, autumn, the murky rivers that are brown because of the rainy season, the rivers become clear. All the dust and mud settle to the bottom, to the riverbed. So this asammanascha sauhrudan is a very, very critical piece for Ravana. Now some time has passed. Ravana cannot continue curbing himself. So he decided it's time to consult with my ministers and friends. Now, who are these ministers and friends? His definition of friends are those who will agree with him. And those who disagree with him or give him good advice, he considers them not friends. But he hasn't said anything to Vibhishan just yet. So Ravana got on his chariot, fantastic chariot made with gold and all lovely designs on it, decked with gems, rubies, diamonds, pearls, coral, sapphires, ruby gems that I don't even know of. They were yoked, that whole chariot was yoked of fine horses. Now one may ask that in the middle of all of this, why is Valmiki describing this? The point that we're making is, or Valmiki's Rishi is making is, the dhvani of these verses is, he has everything that a person will aspire for in life. But he's after one thing, one person, that lust he has to fulfill. So for that, he's willing to lose or put at stake, put at risk everything that he has. That's a gamble. One of the rules we follow is no gambling. It's a great gamble he's about to head on. So this 10-headed Ravana, the best of the Rakshasas, got on his chariot. And all the surrounding, there's such a roaring noise. Just the way he was ascending on the chariot felt like a rumbling cloud. The horses were ready. All around him were soldiers wielding swords, weapons. And they were leading the chariot of the king of the Rakshasas. Other powerful leaders in his Rakshasa organization, they're wearing different jewelry, ornaments, armors, and they were also walking by his side. Some were following him on massive elephants. There was the horses, the cavalry, the infantry, all. So Ravana is showing what a mighty army it is. Whenever a person has to demonstrate strength, then they show all the assets that they have. If one wants to see their financial wealth or strength, that they look at all the assets that they have, movable and immovable assets. When a person wants to feel strength in their education, then all their titles and degrees and accomplishments are read. When a person wants to show physical strength, because this is the time for impending war, he's manifesting his 4-division strength, the horses, the elephants, the chariots, the infantry, all of that. And all these people were carrying all fiery weapons, sharp-edged swords, blades, javelins, all sorts of weapons. And there was such tumultuous roaring, yelling, shouting, war cries. And in all of it, he enters his palace, or the courtyard, the main place where he holds his court, and everyone comes to meet him and bow down in front of him. Then Ravana, as he was going on the chariot, there was a white canopy on his head. That's what the king gets, a white umbrella. So Ravana looked like the moon in a night sky full of stars. Chamara, fantastic chamaras, white like anything, with golden handles were being waved as he was walking. Every Rakshasa was bowing down their head and folding their palms as Ravana is proceeding on his chariot. And there were cries, Jai, Vijay Bhava, Jai Bhava, oh Ravana, you're the greatest, you're the greatest. Just hearing it is making him even more convinced that Sita Devi should be his. He entered his royal court. And how's that court designed? Everything is golden. Suvarna Lanka, as they say. Everything is shining in gold. This was created or built by Vishwakarma. The pillars were made of gold and silver. Everything inside the court was made with crystal, called sphatika. It was carpeted with golden shining silk. And everything was shining, beautiful, resplendent. And that royal court was guarded by 600 Rakshasas. Ravana sat on a Vaidurya-studded throne, covered with deer skin, and had a very nice soft pillow. Then Ravana addressed his court. We have a very, very important task on hand against our enemies. And as soon as he said, he ordered his soldiers, the little, as we say, peons, the little messengers, go get everybody here. So the Rakshasas ran in fear to carry the order of the king. Oh, he wants to meet everybody. And one by one, all the Rakshasas, the ministers, they all got on their horses, their elephants. Some ran into the royal court because the king summoned them. And quickly, they parked all their chariots and elephants on horses and entered Ravana's court. As soon as they entered Ravana's court, they fell at his feet. They offered his prostrated obeisances and said, please accept my humble obeisances. And they took their seats. Some were made of gold. Some sat on kushagras. Some sat on the floor. Then, when everyone settled down, Ravana examined everybody. And he saw very learned people, excellent decision makers, ministers, people who are very, very intelligent. Some people's intelligence is such that they can visualize the problem, the strategy, solutions, the outcomes. Very good. Some are very strong warriors. Some themselves were heroes and they had all the scars and markings of winning in battle. And they're all assembled, and he's thinking, I have some very, very intelligent people who are going to give me some good advice. This time, Vibhishana also. He got on his very auspicious, beautiful golden chariot that was drawn by strong, beautiful horses. And he too went to where Ravana was. Now, Vibhishana, even after this, has absolutely no animosity towards Ravana. He has feelings of love and affection. He doesn't think Ravana is a bad guy. I've experienced being with young practitioners over the years that the newness of being a bhakta or a spiritualist is such that in the newness of discovering of eating prasadam only, no onion, no garlic, they visit their family back in their countries, and the way they treat their family, oh, this is mode of ignorance, that is mode of passion. It's almost that people feel so angry and rejected that suddenly you're riding a high horse of how great you are. We know all the nonsense you've done. Vibhishana doesn't carry that for Ravana. What did he do? Vibhishana entered, offered obeisances to Ravana, touched Ravana's feet. And as Vibhishana did it, two others, Shuka and Prahasta. They also followed Vibhishana and they sat down. So the entire court was filled with all these jewel-like people. And Valmiki tells us that their bodies were smeared with fragrance. The whole royal court was wafting very sweet fragrance of incense. And they had sandalwood paste on their bodies. But these are all very well accomplished people. And because now they have sat in the court, nobody dared speak anything. It was quiet, it was silent. Nobody spoke. Although they're very accomplished, they're all waiting for Ravana to speak. So Ravana, who was glowing like Indra. When Indra sits in his court and assembly, everybody pays attention. There's no murmur, side talk, checking texts, or on the side, watching Wall Street or TikTok video, nothing. Everyone was quiet, fully attentive, alert. What will Ravana say? Ravana glanced at the entire assembly and then looked at Prahasta, who was the chief of the army, and told him, Senapate, O chief of the army, you order my entire army. You are the one that devises, thinks, strategizes, and accomplishes all kinds of wars in which we've been very, very successful. And you have under your command, a vast, well-organized army. I want you to order them to be on the alert. So Prahasta, who always wants to carry out the order of the king, Ravana, made sure that inside the court and outside was filled with guards. He made sure that the security system was set up. I'm going to exaggerate a little bit here. There were metal detectors. You had to take off your shoes. You cannot carry water bottle inside. Everything was pakka. They were checking everyone's IDs and badges multiple times and checking under the cars if there's someone's. The whole thing is Ramachandra. More importantly, none of the Vanaras should come in because they're going to discuss strategy. war strategy. So after having given all these orders, there were guards on alert. Prastha came and sat down in front of the king and said, "Oh, Ravana, you are the most powerful one. And for the protection of this court and yourself and Lanka, there has been an entire army posted outside. So now you tell me what you would like us to do." Now Ravana wanted to preserve Lanka, so he told Prahasta. And now this fellow is going to speak some so-called philosophy. And he says, Priya Apriya, something that is likable and that is not likable. Sukha Dukkha, in happiness and distress. Labha Alabha, in profit and in loss. Hita Ahite, in something favorable and unfavorable, something good, fortunate or unfortunate. Dharma Kamartha Kricheshu Yuyam Arthaveditum. So whenever there is a doubt about dharma, artha, kama, you, Prahasta, are very, very good at looking at what is good, what is not good, what is favorable, what is not what is not favorable, what is profit, what is loss. You can see both sides, or the full side, or the full picture, and you can give advice. And whatever I have done in terms of war and fight, it's all well thought of and decided by you and all of these ministers. So I've seen that none of my actions have failed, which means I've conquered pretty much the whole universe. Just as Lord Indra rules over all the planets and the gods and attains great fortune, similarly, because of all of your company and advice, I will also achieve the greatest of things. Now, I have told you previously about my desire to keep Sita. I was not able to tell Kumbhakarna at that time because he was asleep. Now, Kumbhakarna is the most powerful and perhaps the most prominent warrior amongst all of us. He's very, very strong. Previously, he was sleeping. And that he has this where he sleeps for 6 months and then he wakes up, and now just recently he woke up and he's also here right now. Now this Sita, Iyam cha Dandakaranya, from Dandakaranya I brought Sita. That's the place where all the Rakshasas wander. But Sita has not stepped on my or ascended on my bed just yet. How much ever I have prayed, pleaded, requested. What to do? Lokeshu cha anyamena, me anyam ena Sita sadrishimata. My opinion, that like Sita, there is no other woman in the entire universe. And I somehow want her to be with me. She has a very slender waist, very well-formed hips, whose face is like the autumn moon. She's very gentle, almost like a doll. She's so magical. It seems like Maya, the Danava Maya, who's an excellent artist, has personally made her. She's magical because she plays with my mind, is the inner meaning. And when When I look at her, the red soles of her feet, the pinkish nails of her toes and fingers, my heart's love has been kindled like anything. Her face is glowing like the sacrificial fire, like the radiance of the sun. Look at her nose, so well formed. It's prominent in her face. Her eyes are so large, attractive, and the movements of her eyes. I have been overtaken by love and want to become her slave. I've been disturbed by passion. And this passion is such that it makes every other grief or agony very small. It doesn't matter. So how much of a distress one is, that lust somehow overtakes everything else. Now, the Sita, she requested me for 1 year time, expecting that her husband Rama will come. And I promised her, okay, I will, just because she asked me and I could not say no to her. Now, I have been so impatient and tired, like a mad horse that has been running and running and running, and at some point has become tired. My passion is making me extremely exhausted and tired. Now, this is complete false, right? She did not ask him time, saying, oh, if my husband doesn't come, that's the implication. Give me 1 year's time. If Ramachandra comes here, I'll go with him. If he doesn't come in 1 year, I'll be with you. This is what he's telling Prahasta and all the horrible Rakshasas sitting there. She's asked for time. I'm running out of patience. How is it possible for the sons of Dasharatha and the Vanaras to cross the ocean that is filled with massive crocodiles and predatory aquatics? Yeah, a huge monkey came and destroyed Lanka, which was very unpredictable. It's one of those things we had not expected. But Prahasta, tell me, according to you, what does your calculation say? Personally, I'm not scared of human beings. I have won against the Devatas and Asuras as long as you were on my side. And you were there throughout all of it. So at the shore of the ocean, Rama and Lakshmana have collected with Sugriva and all the other Vanaras, thinking they're going to get back Sita. So can you suggest a way out of all of this? Think about it again and again. Tell me a plan on how to kill Rama and Lakshmana without giving Sita back. Now, I'm very certain of victory, but I want to know how we're going to achieve this. So while Ravana is speaking this, Kumbhakarna, who was there in the assembly, got up because he was very angry at Ravana. And he said, Ravana, if all this conversation that you're consulting with your ministers and me and everyone, if you had had this conversation of what to do before you brought Sita here, then we could have been of any help to you. Now, it's like asking, I have shot the gun, the bullet is traveling, what do I do to change the course of the bullet? You can't. It is not at all possible. A good king thinks first, acts then, and feels happy in the decision. But those who don't do so, don't think first, act something, and then live with regret. So anything to be done must be discussed, planned properly. It should be within the principles of dharma. Otherwise, it is like offering impure things into the fire of Yajna. And person who does first and thinks later cannot understand the difference between right and wrong. Hastily spoken, hastily acted out, doesn't lead a person to any good outcomes. So Ravana, what you've done is not correct. Ramachandra has not killed you yet, fortunately. If you mix poison in your food and you eat it, you may not know there is poison, but it will definitely kill. So your act, externally you can't see, but your act is the poison that is now that has now contaminated your food, and you're going to die. The food is whatever you're thinking you're going to enjoy. The poison is the act of bringing Sita here, away from Ramachandra. Oh, sinful. Then he says, oh, Ravana. Now, what you have done is not possible to undo. She's already here. So, as your brother, I will kill your enemy and accomplish the goal for you. Oh, Ravana, I will completely destroy the army of Ramachandra. I will fight with Rama and Lakshmana, and even if Indra and Surya, Agni, Vayu, Kubera, Varuna, they all come, I will finish all of them. I have sharp teeth. I can just chew them and kill them immediately and drink their blood. Once, even if they shoot an arrow at me, between the time it takes to release another arrow, I would kill them. So don't worry. Don't have any fear. You continue drinking the best of wine and relax. I want to check one thing. Yeah. So having heard this, obviously Ravana is becoming strengthened. He's feeling more inspired. Now, there is one other personality called Mahaparshva. Mahaparshva. Mahaparshva, who's listening to all this, he himself is very, very strong, who wanted to please Ravana, got up with his folded hands, greeted Ravana, and said, you know, if you walk into a forest, although the forest has snakes and wild animals, what grows in the forest is honey. If you're already in the forest and you don't drink that honey, then you're very immature. So why are you worried? You're already the lord of not only the Rakshasas, you're pretty much the lord of the entire universe. In fact, you enjoy with Sita as much as you want stepping on the head of your enemy. In fact, you be like this rooster, very aggressive, and nothing gentle, just aggressively enjoy her. Fulfill your desire. Why are you waiting? What are you afraid of? And whatever will happen, we're there. We'll take care of it. There's Kumbhakarna, there's Indrajit, and so many people here who can easily keep all the enemies there. You just be aggressive in the way you handle Sita. And as far as your enemies are concerned, we'll bring them under control. Don't have any doubt. So Ravana felt very happy hearing Mahaparshva's word and said, "Oh, Mahaparshva, there is something I want to tell you, a little secret from my past. It was a long time ago, so I'll tell you again. So listen to it. Once I was traveling in the sky, going to meet my grandfather, Lord Brahma. While I was going on the way, I saw this very enchanting Apsara by the name Punjika-Sthala. And she was also moving, and she was glowing like the flame of a fire. Now, this guy is going to meet grandfather Brahma. It's like going to a temple. And when we're going to a temple, we generally take a bath, put on fresh clothes, clean cloth, tilak. Our mind is supposed to be in a prayerful mood. It's a place where we take both the gross and the subtle body in a pure form. So now when he sees Punjika-Sthala, he's become so enamored by lust. He says that I ripped off her clothes forcibly and enjoyed her. So I was so strong and forcible. Basically, he's saying I raped her. It was like a lotus that has been completely crumpled like this. And actually completely defiled by me, she went to Lord Brahma and complained. When Lord Brahma came to know, he became very angry. And he gave me a warning. He says, from today, if you ever force yourself on any other woman, your head will break into 100 pieces, without a doubt. Tada tesha shatada murdhna phalishyanti. Phalishyti, break into 100 pieces. Na samshaya, no doubt about it. So because of his curse, I don't force Sita to come to my bedroom. This Ramachandra doesn't understand my strength. He's thinking he's coming here to attack me. Actually, he's instigating me. He doesn't understand that I'm like a lion sleeping inside a cave. What kind of foolish human being is he? He has not seen how sharp my arrows are, how perfect they are, how powerful they are. And every arrow leaps like the tongues of a mighty snake and mighty fire. And he's coming towards me. I will release at Ramachandra hundreds and hundreds of arrows that will move at like meteors in the sky. They're so powerful. It'd be like a massive explosion and finish off him and all of his Ram. Even if Indra, Varuna, and others come and stand with Ramachandra, he has no chance. Previously, I have captured the entire city ruled by Kuvera because of my strength. But I can't force Sita. Ravana hasn't done anything is not because in him there is any less sinful tendency. He's afraid of the curse of Lord Brahma. So he has not crossed the line. Just because he has not crossed the line does not make him saintly. He is a complete wretched fellow, just waiting on this side of the line and trying to weaken Sita Devi by constant harassment. That's the kind of personality, a horrendous fellow. This is the discussion that is happening. He's basically being stoked by Prahasta and others, particularly not Prahasta, being stoked by Mahaparshva to force himself on Sita Devi. Kumbhakarna and Prahasta are saying, we'll take care of the, although Kumbhakarna says, you should have thought about all this before, but now it's done. I'll crush your army. And Prahasta saying, I will defend and kill and fight with Rama, Lakshmana, Sugriva, Hanuman, the Devatas, whoever. You do your thing. At this time, Vibhishana stands up to say something. And what he will say, obviously, we have to wait to hear, because this is the roaring conversation that is happening in the court. And there's one voice of reason, one voice of good intention, and one voice of dharma. Ravana represents the mind that has a strong hold on the Atma, the Jiva. And Kumbhakarna, Karna, big ears, can hear advice, but what's the use of having big ears if good advice doesn't enter? Kumbhakarna says, I'm going to keep all of that out. Praharsha means mighty arms. We talked about it. Prahasta. And Mahaparshva means strong sides. So everything is, the mind has such control over the jiva and pushes, like Arjuna asked, what is it that one is pushed to doing things that are sinful. Krishna says, Kamesha, Krodha Esha, Rajo Guna Samudbhava. Mahashana is a great devourer. Mahapapma, Vairina, and is the greatest enemy. That principle of Bhagavad Gita is what we are hearing, because Bhagavad Gita is Upanishad, Gita Upanishad. That principle we are seeing live. Ravana, who's the role he plays of how the mind completely grasps the jiva and won't let go to be with Sri Ramachandra. So, any reflections and thoughts and comments on the so-called lovely discussion among the Rakshasas?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have one question.
Narahari, Hari Bol.
So if you're in position of Vibhishana, how do we get courage and strength to say the things what he's saying?
So look at Vibhishana's character. His courage is not the strength that I am strong. His courage is that he has love for Ravana. The others are all such servants of Ravana that they can't say anything against Ravana. Either they have fear or something. He has love for Ravana. Number one. Second, he knows that when one has to speak the truth, that it's the truth that gives the strength and courage. Third, he's not afraid of the consequences. Most persons are afraid of consequences. What will happen? That person will get upset at me. This person will not like me. That person may, whatever, take my service away, will not give me something. What I have, I might lose. These are all considerations that end here about me. Vibhishana thinks I have nothing to lose. I'm going to lose a very dear brother. So I'm going to give him some good advice, whatever may happen. So he doesn't have a fear of losing anything. Some people think I may lose the relationship. In this case, the relationship will be lost for Vibhishana, but not from Vibhishana's side. It gets lost from Ravana's side. But the courage to speak the truth comes from being situated in dharma, doing the right thing for that person, and not having a fear of losing anything. Okay, Narari Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, yeah.
Prabhu, you said it's not any lost from the Vibhishana's side, the relationship. What does that mean? Like, because he standed on the point of like
Vibhishana, even when he goes to Ramachandra's party, he still loves Ravana. He still loves Ravana. So from his side, the relationship is not broken. It doesn't function. It's not broken. Ravana, from his side, the relationship is broken. As we go into the Yuddha Kanda, later, Vibhishana will be advising how Ravana's army and all that is, and they come face to face on the battlefield. You'll hear what Ravana has to say to Vibhishana. Right now, Indrajit is going to speak something nasty, but later Ravana will also speak. Indrajit will also speak about Vibhishana, but Vibhishana never speaks anything bad. The only thing is, after Ravana dies, Vibhishana doesn't want to do the final rites for his brother, saying, no, he's been very, very adharmic. How can I perform his final rites? And Ramachandra tells him, once a person is dead, the animosity is also dead. You cannot keep that. It is proper etiquette and your duty to do the final rites for him, and makes him do it.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Shamakund.
In addition to what you just spoke to Soumya Mataji and Narahari Prabhu, two other appreciations, Prabhu. It was very nice the way you said it. One is what's happening is Ravana all along until this point in time, he had led a campaign against the Devatas and others. He had always been on the offensive. And this is the first time that somebody is attacking his own fort of Lanka. In one sense, he didn't have that experience of defending his fort. He's great at fighting, attacking others. And quite often in our own life, when we stray away from the path of Dharma, what we are least good at, that is where we get to learn our lessons sometimes from like what Ravana is having. And the way you said it, that the principle that you said struck me in that Ravana, it is not the first time that he had either tried to molest a woman or do something there. In the past, he had done many times, and he had done without others' knowledge. And having done that, and even with Sita, he tried to do it without others' knowledge. But now, in the assembly of 600 plus Rakshasa soldiers, he's openly, this brave person is saying how he is wanting the love of Sita, but he's not getting it. He has become shameless. There's such a big history behind it. It starts small, and I like the way you said it, that because Ravana was not, or any of us for that matter, uh, when we stop hearing and assimilating the messages of the scriptures, when that stops speaking out, when we turn our attention away, then all these things come to the forefront. And what happened with Ravana is just the tip of the iceberg now, but the foundation was laid much before. Thank you for that, Prabhu. Bringing the focus back to what is it that we are making our mind here. That's it.
Thank you. Kumbhakarna sleeping, in one sense, is that he's closed his ears to any good advice. I mean, not Ravana particularly, but that for a being, that they can't hear anything. They can't hear anything because we know what the message will be. So not to hear, that's going to sleep. I like the point you said that a person gets attacked at their weakest point, whatever that weakness is for each person. Not only in the assembly is he shamelessly speaking, but there's also a hint of fear. He says, I'm afraid of Lord Brahma's curse. Never has anyone heard Ravana saying, I'm afraid of anything. Thank you for bringing that up. Anyone else? Anything? Isn't it beautiful the way Valmiki is written it? Although the episode itself is distasteful. I mean, I have a nauseous knot in my stomach just hearing his really horrendous, lustful words for Sita Devi. I mean, to say that she's not ascending my bed is like, to even narrate it is, I feel like throwing up. But when I bring it home, there is that as a conditioned being, the urge to enjoy matter is very much that kind. It's highly exploitative, and it's leaving almost like a strong impression on me studying this. Okay, any final comments, thoughts before we? Okay, thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Nritya Gauranga.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Yeah. So, Prabhuji, one question I have is, when Ravana has this a conditional curse sitting on his head, how can he still think that he's the most powerful when he's afraid that about the curse that Brahma has given? So, I just want to hear your comments on that. Yeah.
He is expert at finding backdoor way or less than ideal ways to fulfilling his lust while he is skirting with or playing or dancing around the very thing. So Lord Brahma said, if you ever force yourself, so his logic is, I'm not going to force myself. I'm going to weigh down that person that they will themselves come to me.
Okay.
So he's using, I have a loophole. I don't have to force myself on someone. The loophole is I will slowly work on their mind, work on manipulating them into accepting. I mean, people find loopholes in dharma all the time. All the time. We find loopholes. How much can I tread close to the edge that I still remain as if I'm protecting dharma or I'm in dharma, but I'm actually enjoying the outcomes of non-dharma. It's working at we call it tatastha, the very edge, living on the edge, as they say.
Yeah.
Edge is always risky, but that's where people operate because they find loopholes and little things to work on. Yeah, everybody wants to find loopholes. As I'm talking about this, I have an appreciation for my spiritual master, that he always is on the middle of the road, never near the edge, or even even directionally oriented towards the edge. Forget about speaking about the edge or being there. Always middle of the road. Always middle of the road. At whatever cost it is, whatever price it is, middle of the road. Amazing personality. So you see, he is who he is.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll pause here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. You inspire me each week by your presence, by your participation, both live and afterwards. I get messages from people who listen later that something helped them or they were inspired by the certain episode. All of that belongs to the acharyas, the spiritual masters, and Valmiki Rishi, and of course Sita, Rama, and Lakshmana and Hanuman, who are, the difficulty they have to go through to help us get the Vedic lesson. So their kindness is unsurpassed. I'm the tiny filter that can only, share a little of this, so much that is not in my grasp or in my understanding. I'm sure we're missing out a lot. Once my spiritual master told someone, we are like standing with a quarter teaspoon in front of Niagara Falls. There is so much that is coming to us, but we can only capture a quarter teaspoon worth. But that itself is relishing, nourishing, and satisfying. But what to speak of how much more there is that requires the grace of these great personalities. So Sita Rama Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sarvam Sri Ramarpanamastu.